as I say in the past, this group, which is Muslim Brotherhood, and wherever they consider that the Afghanistan is a base, from that base they will conquer the world, and then see what happened to them. I mean, destruction for Afghanistan and so on. And now it shifted. The matter is being shifted. A new location and became now Turkey. Turkey, a new location for the group. Through Turkey, they think like they are going to do something in the future. Well, they think also being a Turkey is a member of NATO, that could like give them no kind of protection, not to be questioned about like what happened in the past for Afghanistan. Like now they are being undercover by the NATO. And the first time I got a message from a young graduate from university. He said to me, you know what? They are after me, the Muslim Brotherhood. They are after me, and because I'm a good speaker, and they are always after me. They promise me for giving me a scholar to send me to Turkey to study in Turkey. When they get out, then they will give me a good job and so on. And they already made that with my cousin. He's already studying in Turkey there with them, and a big part of them. So when I listened to him, I didn't take it like as serious the matter. I guess because the first time you heard something, yes, you basically you set as a base for building information over that. So then later, after common days, and I got an idea of somebody told me like he talked to someone in Turkey who descend by Muslim Brotherhood, and he talked and he went to Turkey and he found like whatever they think is not properly the way they think. Mentally they are not disturbed. He said this group, I mean, they don't have like a government or they don't have like in their plan like a rule or a government for the world. When they say they want to establish kingdom in the world. And so now that gives me an idea. This man, he has one man he knows from his town. He's from a different place, and telling me that's what's happening where he went, Turkey. Now it gives us an idea why Turkey now will become like a place, a center place for gathering, because as you know, if a government rule a country, then they have the resource, they have the university, they have the school, they have accommodation. They can bring students from different country to that country and brainwash them. Then they send them back as a student, as a teacher to teach, or do a recruiter to the other country. Well, you can't stop this matter. You can't stop it in the Middle East, because Middle East there is no law and order, and that's why of this country like Turkey. Not only that, the concept of Turkey, whatever they're planning. One time I was listening to a man from Russia. He's an imam. He's from the state of Russia, where Muslim state, and he said there is their group. As we know the history, like Turkey's empire, it conquered so many countries in the past. I mean, conquered like Muslim country, conquered also non-Muslim country, Turkey, and by the name of religion. And it's just how like a Christian is to conquer country and all these by the name of religion. But however, religion has nothing related to that, to go conquer other land and take their wealth and impose on them like your idea and be like a ruler for them. It's not in the religion. It's just human being. They do this. Now think about this man, the ruler in Turkey now, with a small, as you see, we know historically like Turkey is a center of corruption. It's like worse than Middle East. All you know, in the 80s and up, Turkey is a center of corruption. All the criminals from Europe and the Middle East, they gather in Turkey. They call it the hub for criminals. It's like free country. You could do whatever you want. There is no police could bribe the police. And that's how the country, very corruption, very poverty, and so on. So Muslim Brotherhood is considered that a good place for them to plant their any corruption, any state corruption, anything country in the world is a good place for growing Muslim Brotherhood. Because why? You need poverty, because poverty what end? Poverty led to the illiteracy led to the uneducation, and these people, Muslim Brotherhood, they have is like a corporation. They have money, wealth, resource, and they invest in this province and recruit and so on, and finally they win election. That's how they win the election in Turkey, and then they start making propaganda and became their own state. Now Muslim Brotherhood, now they own state, which is like Turkey. So Turkey go to the countries like in Russian country, and all those originally, some of them, they originally from the time of the Turkish Empire, where it conquered those countries, and still living until today. Similar thing, there is Turkish also living in many Muslim countries from the time of conquering those countries. But now the government of Turkey, I mean, make contact with these people who's originally, I mean, so many years, I mean, 100 years, originally from Turkey, but they are citizens of that country, telling them, okay, you know what, you are Turkish, you are not from this country, so you have to work with us. I mean, we try to revive our empire around the world. You have to work with us. I mean, we became like one of them to do something. So think about it, this not reasoning. I mean, there is no reasoning in these people's mind the way they think. I mean, they ignore the fact, like superpower, they ignore the fact that China, Russia, and United States, and Europe, and all this. They ignore the fact that they want to do, they think they are clever, and God with them, maybe they do this kind of thing. They want to conquer the world. So what I don't. So for the Middle East, you can solve the problem for them because corruption and all this. Also, country like Qatar play very strong rules in this propaganda for Turkey. Qatar because it became a base for United States. Qatar has good relation with Israel. Well, if you have a good relation with Israel, you could do whatever you want. I mean, you could breach whatever you want because you have good relation and will be protected. U.S. will not take any action against you. So Qatar is not, even though they don't practice the Islam, they don't have like human rights in that country, and they are making propaganda for Turkey and propaganda for Muslim Brotherhood. It's just nonsense. I mean, think about one time, if you follow the news, like Qatar has office for Israel, at the same time has office for Hamas, and sometimes has office for United States, and has an office for Taliban. All these offices for all these different factions in the same country. How could it be you have, I mean, with all those together, how could we combine them all together in one government? It shows you how that country, I mean, play rules is a help for destruction. For these days, I mean, he is attacking Egypt too much. I mean, by the name of democracy, by the name of the human right, and they don't have human right in their country, and they don't have democracy in their country, and they are living, and just because they have gas, they sell it to the world. There is no gasoline. I mean, gas. This is they will be like in poverty, and there is no basic human right in that kingdom of Qatar. Now, since Qatar has a relation with Israel, a relation with the United States, they have a base for the United States. Think, oh, well, I will protect it. I could, whatever I don't like country, I could destroy them from internal. I have Muslim Brotherhood. I have media. Al Jazeera. Most of the time, you could go read to Yahoo. You see in Yahoo, you see a lot of article being copied from Al Jazeera, which is funny. Sometimes, like you see the what do you call it, the progressive radio in KSA. The progressive radio, KBA radio, sometimes they bring messages from Al Jazeera. It was funny. I mean, you are progressive radio station, and you are quoting something from Al Jazeera, which Al Jazeera is against human rights, is like non-progressive state, is against progressive state, is very, I mean, terrible state. And because they have the media, and resources to do this. So, for now, come to the matter. As I said, for people in the Middle East, you can do nothing about it. As corruption so much, what it be? I mean, be dangerous for us. We living in the Western country, like to start sending people for those groups who rule mosque, the Ikhwan Muslim in the United States, sending like a student, either convert or non-convert, or from Muslim families, sending them to study in Turkey. That will be because as out of the screen of the radar of US and so on, because like part of the NATO, and that country will bring for us a new kind of trouble for not for Muslim, and Muslim majority will hurt Muslim than to hurt somebody else by have this theology being through Turkey being propagated again, being revived, the concept of whatever they are doing in Syria and Iraq, the concept of caliphate, and Turkey believe about that. And so this is a danger we are facing in the future. If we, I mean, every time and if a mosque, if anywhere Muslim organization told you like your son will be sent, or a convert person, he say I want to study Islam, send you to Turkey. You have to think about that. If you've been sent you to Turkey to do so and so, it's like similar to sending you to Afghanistan in the past. It send you not to study religion, to do something trouble. This concept of nonsense and non-reasonable. So, be aware as a human, as a Muslim living, grow up in the West, to be aware about this, the way they manage get people in, recruit behind the scene. Don't think like imam. For sure, you don't think as imam of a mosque. This is a lot more common. When I discuss with the people, they say the people sometimes the faith is play rule. When people they have a faith and trust an imam, and they think what they guide them is the right path, and this imam mentally is disturbed, he has mentally twisted, and he think about whatever he's in his mind is correct, and he just sending the people so on. And also say I don't know yet about South Africa. If South Africa will be out of the radar of this militant to be like to have a base for teaching in North South Africa, because a lot of places where, like for example Yemen, they have so many universities. The Muslim Brotherhood in Yemen, they build so many universities to teach religion and to gather people who are around the globe to send them to that country. From that country they study to be not really religion, is to be theology, that belief, and that theology is basically is to how to one point to conquer the world. Through the world, through this concept built in their mind and thinking like God with them and so on. So how do I going to do something about it? And I'm saying like most common, like a Muslim in general in the Western country, they don't even read what in the media, what the media say. They don't even look at the internet, what video publicized in the internet to learn something, to be awake. Like for when I listen to radio and read newspaper and I read articles, it gives me an idea. Then I do reasoning with whatever I read, whatever I heard, and then I talk to the public, non-Muslim. I do conversation with them. They like my idea, because see, you can't. You can't assume like whatever. I don't defend like I defend like whatever Muslim they believe. I don't defend it because their belief really is not real 100% Islam. Whatever their belief is combination of some little bit from Islam and some other is man-made like generation after generation, king after king, and so on. That's how it's go. So sometimes for a point, you could think about how you are going to resolve this problem, how you are going to end this concept of the people who they have this belief. The only thing is school system. You just allow for this group, for any matter, not to teach the children, from childhood, because as they brainwash the child, and the child at the same time, think about it, child will grow up, he has no longer, has reasoning about his concept, whatever he's doing. Like a child will kill himself. Think about it. The worst thing, a human being kill himself. If he has reasoning for that, he will not kill himself. But then, since the faith been planted in him to kill himself, that's good things. That's how they've been powerful in this. And still, I'm talking about like the worst thing that the Western country allow for this group. Through the Cold War, allow for this group to grow up, to grow more. It's like weed. It's like disease spread, and they have resource, they have money, they have so much money. If you are in the Western country, one of the time they sell you, even though they sell you loan, They give you loan with they call it Islamic loan, which that Islamic loan actually in it, embedded in that Islamic loan, it's interest, and they told you there is no interest, but it's combined together. So you are now you are facing tremendous powerful organization. I mean, organization is global, I mean, resource. So basically, I want people, I don't want to be hurt like other people because I'm Muslim, to be hurt because somebody else doing something wrong. That's why I tell people always when you talk to them, well, if somebody commit crime, I'm not responsible for him. I mean, it's supposed to be if somebody did something wrong, he's responsible for himself. Since I'm Muslim, I'm not responsible for whatever he's doing. That's his problem. That's my problem. You don't just say to me, yeah, because you are Muslim, you are part of that. That's not part of that. That's why I'm always, when I've been asked about where are you from? I mean, I always identify myself fast. I mean, I don't like some people who they hide their identity. Most of the Muslims, they hide identity because they say, well, the public, they can't figure out where he's from. They say, I'm from place so and so. Sometimes they fool people even where country they came from. I mean, I am honest, tell people what so and so, because I believe like anyone who commit crime is responsible for his crime. Is not I'm myself, I'm responsible for it. Therefore, I'm saying to have to pay attention about Turkey is became a center nowadays, a center for all these Muslim Brotherhood. They will be like second place after Afghanistan, regardless. They tell you like a secular state is not a secular state. All these foolish. Now they gather from Turkey, like similar thing. But you say they gather to throw Turkey from Turkey to send to Iraq and Syria for destruction. I mean, same thing. I mean, from all around the globe. I mean, we don't expect the government will do something. I don't expect it because government sometimes they have their own people who they work in the government. They have their own interests. Sometimes destruction could be benefit for someone and non-benefit for others. That's how the people in the world. Some people suffer from destruction. Some people they gain from destruction, and that's how the policy. You can't expect it from government to do something to stop this destruction. Only human being as you are yourself. You could do something to stop that. As I mentioned to you before, I say if you are really as a moral, intellectual something, you have to start thinking about how many people they die daily in the sink, in the water, and wherever Turkey in the surrounding area. Say the fishermen every day return by children from when they fish, they get dead human being, and you see a lot of also. Belonging in the beaches on all this Mediterranean Sea, and belonging of these people who already die in the water, and it's only some of them the fishermen they get them when they go fishing, they find dead human being, and these people who they are living in the Western country preaching religion, then even mention about whatever people happening to the people, and destruction to even though try to stop this destruction, whatever happening for these people. I mean, if you have like a moral, if the religion teaches you a moral, you're supposed to think about other people who are suffering with other people suffering. But if you don't have a moral, or your belief system has no moral, the criminals, you don't care about what's happening. That's why this, mentality of the people, they use the religion, they have no moral because their teaching has no moral in itself to kill, to build wealth and so on. Anyhow, Assalamu alaikum.